Hey, psst. You want to learn how to shadow box? Good, you're in the right place. Here are the three main components of shadow boxing, being a good shadow boxer. Number one, assess your risk. A good boxer never gets hit with the same punch more than once. If I have my hands up and I throw a perfect jab, I need to understand that if I don't bring it back as soon as possible, I might get countered with the right hand. If I throw a left hook and I drop my right hand at the same time, I can get hit with another left hook. So number one, assess the risk you're taking. Number two, laziness is not tolerated. You can't throw lazy punches. You got your hands up, your chin low, your knees bent, and you throw a punch, you can't bring it down afterwards. You gotta pretend there's somebody after you trying to take your head off. You throw a right hand, bring it right back. Keep your knees bent, keep your core engaged. You can't be lazy. Number three, boxing is like music. So you need to synchronize your entire body in order to get into a flow state. Why do you need to get into a flow state? Well, because I need to dictate where I want to be when I'm throwing a punch. So if my hands are in the right place and I can throw a good punch, but my legs aren't synchronized, then my punches aren't going to be efficient. So it's very important. It comes full circle. If your legs aren't in the right place and you throw a punch, you can't throw a punch and be sure that you're going to come back and be ready to protect yourself and hopefully counter. Now that you know the three main components of shadow boxing, as a coach, I have to tell you what the main mistakes I see. Number one, probably the most common. A lot of guys will have a good flow, good posture, good movement, but they'll be looking at the ground when they're shadow boxing. This right here, unacceptable. You're not gonna see anything coming from the floor. This right here, looking at the mirror, unacceptable. You gotta be looking in front of you. You gotta be looking at your opponent's chest or their shoulders. Right here. Mistake number two, shadow boxing is not a warm-up. Going for a jog is, jumping rope is. Shadow boxing is made for you to perfect your craft. So a lot of boxers will be shadow boxing and treating it like a warm-up. That's wrong, completely wrong. Shadow boxing is made for you to perfect your craft. You have to be mindful of what your mistakes are. You have to remember what your trainer tells you throughout your sparring or throughout your prad sessions. A lot of people, for example, will drop their left hand after throwing a jab. Then you have to be mindful of that. You gotta put your hands up. A lot of people box with their chin in the air sometimes. You gotta be mindful of that too. So shadow boxing is for you to correct your mistakes and feel the movement, not just see it. Another very common mistake is a lot of boxers will be throwing punches and not moving, throwing the same combinations and not moving. Remember, different combinations are thrown in different locations. If I'm backing up, I'm not throwing the same punches as if I was moving forward. So remember, use your feet to dictate what you're gonna throw. Now that you're well versed on shadow boxing, a lot of fighters will tell me, Coach, I don't like to shadow box because I feel awkward doing it. The truth is, when you start to feel awkward, it's because you're almost there. You just need to break the ice. What I like to do with my fighters, I like to put any object, in this case I have a medicine ball, just so I can have them dance around it, so it gives them a good sense of direction. You don't actually have to hit anything. Just dance around the ball, move around, move around, move around, move around, and now you have an easier time imagining your opponent in front of you. If after the medicine ball you still feel awkward, what I like to do with my students is tell them to choose one or two combinations. Let's say a 1-2. Throw that same combination until you feel comfortable with it. And once you've gotten comfortable, you can add something to it. Maybe a feint. Anything to make it more fluid. Now, I can have my hands up. Let's say my combination choice is a 1-2. I throw my 1-2, and I remember to put my hand back up. Or I roll underneath. Roll. Pull out. Roll again. Put your hands up. Anything to make it more fluid. All right, guys, that's it for Coach Baiazid today. If this was a good investment of your time, remember to toss me a sub. Click here if you've enjoyed this video. There's another video. And peace out. Stay tuned.